Good day, and thank you for coming back to our YouTube channel on practice management. Today we're going to talk about a serious topic, malpractice insurance, which is a big question out in the industry. Should I get malpractice insurance? Should I not get malpractice insurance? And what kind of malpractice insurance I should get? We're going to talk to two experts in the industry, Christy Carr and Nolene, funny surname, Podrozek, and they will tell us a little bit more about this.
There's a couple of reasons why a practitioner should have medical malpractice insurance. The one is that when something goes wrong with a patient, they automatically assume that it's the practitioner's fault. And we know things can go wrong. There can be a negative outcome for a patient and it's got nothing to do with the practitioner. And their second reason is there's so many contingency-based attorneys out there advertising their expertise, and so there's nothing for the patient to lose by taking a shot at the practitioner.
Malpractice insurance is not compulsory. At one stage it was mooted that it should become compulsory, but it's been quite difficult to determine if it is made compulsory, what limit would be adequate for everybody across the board.
The issue is that patients can make a complaint. They just have to go onto the internet and they can lodge a complaint with the HPCSA. It costs them nothing, and the practitioner is obligated to respond. In most cases we've seen is that the practitioner is not guilty, but those responses can cost anything from 50,000 Rand in legal fees for a preliminary inquiry to 80,000 Rand and above if it goes to full inquiry.
The main differences between an occurrence-based policy and a claims-made policy are as follows. If you have an occurrence-based policy, basically that means that so long as you had cover in place at the time that you render the service, then any claim arising, no matter when it arises after that, would be covered. The difference with claims-made insurance is that you have to have a policy in place in a number of places. So the first place that you have to have it is when you render the service, but that by itself is not sufficient. You also have to have the policy in place when the claim is actually made, hence the name of the cover, claims-made cover. And you must have no gap in cover between the time that you render the service and the time that you become aware of a potential claim. Bearing in mind that although it's called claims made, in terms of a claims made policy, you have to actually report a potential claim as soon as you become aware of an incident which could give rise to a claim, and then the claim will be deemed to be made in that policy period. So one of the advantages of a claims made policy is under an occurrence-based policy, you would be stuck with the limit and the terms that were in place at the time that you rendered the services which have given rise to the claim. Whereas with a claims-made policy, you actually have the benefit of all the advantages and the increases in limits that you might subsequently have put in place, and the policy that is in place at the time that the claim is actually made or that you become aware of it is the policy that responds.
So let's start with an adult patient. An adult claim takes 3 years to prescribe, but it doesn't start to run from when you render the treatment. It starts to run when the patient becomes aware of who caused them the loss. And then they've got 3 years to bring their claim against you. If you are treating minors though, that can take many years. They've got until 1 year after they reach majority, normally. There are some conditions that change. If you are treating somebody that is mentally handicapped, then their claim does not prescribe. Olga, how long is a piece of string? We cannot guarantee that any limit a practitioner takes out is actually enough. And the reason is it depends on who is being treated. So if you think of gynecologists treating a baby, if something goes wrong, they have to think of all the financial loss that's going to take place over many years, as well as the legal fees. So we always say for a simple risk, nothing less than 5 million Rand. And that's because you need at least 1 million Rand for legal fees. And that's only for something simple. So a practitioner has to weigh up how much cover can they actually afford to take out. There are a lot of things a person should take into account. First of all, are you dealing with a reputable insurer? Are they going to be around when you have a claim? or is it a new entrant into the market? So that's one thing. Another thing to look out for are the extensions of cover. For example, you can have regulatory body costs, defense costs, or HPCSA cover. But when you actually look at the wording, most policies in the market will say they'll only cover a regulatory inquiry if it relates to a potential malpractice claim. But when you, for example, look at the cover offered by Profnet, it doesn't matter if it relates to a malpractice claim. If you report it to the HPCSA, you would have cover. And that's one of the outstanding things to look out for when you're choosing malpractice insurance.